54 TV-guided bombs. 4 MiG-27s were flying north along the border at a low altitude of 500 meters, and somewhere on their right flank, several Su-30 MKIs of the Rhino squadron were covering them. The captain knew that the so-called cover was probably just a few fighter jets flying in parallel, hiding 100 kilometers away. On Pundit's RWS, radar warning system, the suspicious L-band radio signal at 4 o'clock on the outer ring could be seen intermittently. He knew that the fools had been following, but they were far away. This is not surprising, these Su-30s have long-range missiles, and dogfights have always been their best escape. However, the captain didn't count on the protection of these rhinos at all. He knew that the only thing that would protect the formation was the suddenness of the attack. He calculated the time it would take to cross the border to the bombing area. It was only a mere 20 minutes, and there was no problem during this period. Just thank goodness. Captain Scorpion, no enemy's early warning aircraft has been found, you can break through the border at any time. Someone said on the radio. The captain looked at the GPS navigation system on the head-up display. The preset navigation point was at 10 o'clock, and he needed to lead the team to turn slightly. Scorpion squad, prepare to turn. After speaking, Pundit lowered the slope and began to turn. With the sharp decrease in altitude, the radar scanning signals of the side and rear shielding groups disappeared immediately. This is the effect the captain wants. If you can't find the Scorpion squad, it will be more difficult for the enemy's ground radar to track you. Only when his own bombs fall can the Pakistani Air Force know what happened, and he can turn back to the border very quickly. Check the weapon master switch. Remove the bomb fuse. The captain's instructions were a little impatient, but according to the regulations of the Indian Air Force, once the border is crossed, the weapon fuse can be removed. He was afraid that he would be too busy to operate it later. It is a very cumbersome aircraft to operate. The 4 MiGs spread their wings and began to slow down. They have found the rushing Jhelum River 300 meters below. Now they don't need radio navigation. As long as they follow this river, they will be able to find the dam. Look, there are tanks on the west bank of the river, said Alish, the wingman. Pundit turned his head. Sure enough, on the road by the river, 2 columns of slightly camouflaged military vehicles and tanks were heading north. He saw several military vehicles slammed on the brakes and stopped on the side of the road. The infantry on the military vehicles jumped out of the vehicles to hide in the bushes, and even a few tank drivers lost their chariots and rolled to the ground in embarrassment. It seems that the Pakistan Army's 2nd Armored Brigade is not a battle-hardened ace. The marching formation was messed up by several passing planes. Looking at their bear-like appearance, it is impossible to perform well on the battlefield. A group of rabble, they expect to use such troops to guard Islamabad. The captain said contemptuously, speaking of these infantrymen, compared with those extremist militants who are difficult to catch alive, the fighting spirit is still much worse. But will they report our position? Alish said. Don't worry, the target is already very close, and it is too late for their fighter jets to take off from any frontline airport. The captain said, he was very sure that no Pakistani Air Force plane would appear to intercept him today, unless the nearby Air Force. It happens that there are several F-16Cs that stay in the air for a long time, even if you are unlucky, but this possibility is almost non-existent, because the intelligence shows that Pakistan has only 6 such aircraft left. At the 9 o'clock direction of the radar warning display, warning radar signals appear from time to time. The captain led the rest of the planes to continue to lower the altitude, and finally flew almost against the river bank before getting rid of the radar scan. The altitude on the HUD shows only 150 meters. The captain knew that the nearest ad hoc base might have some J-7Ps taking off, but they were too late to get close anyway. Scorpion squad, you are still 20 kilometers away from the target, prepare to drop bombs. The Scorpion squad understands. Enter the autopilot. Form an attack formation. According to the original attack plan, the formation entered a line-by-line formation and launched attacks in sequence. Captain Pundit will be the first to fire, which is a vantage point, as enemy fire probably won't have time to target the first aircraft, and one of the captain's tasks is to clear these threats. He leveled the plane carefully, then buried his eyes on the TV monitor on the right side of the cockpit. On the far side of the horizon, a vague gray wall was emerging, like a dam. He adjusted the magnification to 20x, but it was still unclear. At this moment, he looked up at the artificial horizon on the HUD and made sure that the plane was still in level flight. The target distance is 15 kilometers. Continue to reduce the speed and fly level. The voice of the squadron leader appeared on the radio station, and he has been actually controlling the formation. The captain slowly reduced the speed to 450 kilometers per hour. This was a very dangerous moment. The MiG-27 did not have a Doppler radar installed, so it could not perform terrain tracking. The aerodynamic shape of the variable sweep wing. And 400 kilometers is a limit, even the smallest 75-degree swept wing angle, there is still some danger. Arish, you have to help me keep an eye on the back. Don't worry, Captain, I didn't see any missile positions along the way. On the CRT monitor, the majestic Jhelum Dam has become extraordinarily clear. It is said that this is a global arrangement. The top 10 large dams, it seems that the rumors are true, this is really an oversized target that is hard to miss. The captain searched left and right and found an anti-aircraft gun position on one side of the top of the dam. At 22 times the magnification, it could be seen that there were no soldiers on the gun position. The two anti-aircraft guns' 4 barrels were inexplicably facing the north. I found the anti-aircraft artillery position, let me attack, and you attack the dam as originally planned. The captain ordered. Number 2 was still 1 kilometer behind him, the rest of the planes were further away, and he had to unplug this thread first so that the planes behind could attack. On the weapon selection panel, he switched to the video channel of the TV-guided bomb, and a blurred video seeker field of view appeared on the CRT. He first found the target on the wide field of view of 2x, and then immediately switched to the plus attack with plus attack symbols narrow field of view mode. Even if the plane is only 400 kilometers per hour, it is still very easy to miss the target. The captain didn't dare to be careless at all, and kept looking up and looking around. Although the number 2 plane was watching for him after 1 kilometer, it was more reliable to keep a few eyes on him for some things. He continued to move the throttle stick slowly, and eventually the plane's speed on the CRT display dropped to 380 kilometers per hour. He pressed the button of the laser rangefinder, and a laser beam fired by the laser pod accurately measured the slant range for the first time, and the target had almost entered the bomb attack range. At this time, in the bomb's field of vision, several soldiers began to stumble towards the gun emplacement, and then the muzzle began to turn slowly, but it was too late. The lock mark of the TV-guided bomb began to shine, and the captain pressed the button decisively to throw it. The plane was shaken, and it was obvious that the heavy bomb had left the pylon. The captain quickly pulled up the plane and climbed eastward. This clumsy large bomb was actually superior to a laser-guided bomb, with a certain ability to fire and forget. Pundit can now escape gracefully before the anti-aircraft gun has completed a 360-degree turn.